happy?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm happy.
Okay. Gray hair odd couple. I am the he,
And I am the she.
and together we have enough gray hair and enough wrinkles. So if all those people out there who are going to complain have complaints about gray hair and wrinkles, I say let them bring it on.
Yeah, yes.
You know, it's
We've lived a very good life. So this is from laughing. That's what these wrinkles are from laughing.
and the gray hair is nothing more than we cared a lot in life, not just about each other, but we cared about life in general. And we still care about people, the people that you used to have working for you, but now you work for them,
Yeah.
which is a perfect situation.
Yes.
But we're here to let people air out their complaints. It seems that everybody from 18 to 80 has got a complaint about somebody in a different age group. And it gets very old. Monday through Friday, I go out and I do volunteer work. I don't get paid for my work because unfortunately, um, I do not have the eyesight. At 80 years old, I don't have the ability to see what I used to see, but I do like to stay out there and active. So I do the volunteer work, and she does the work that brings in the income so that at least we have food to eat. I want to make it very clear to everybody out there that winds up looking at this podcast after it is published. We have been together, what, 102 years now?
Yeah, I guess so.
We have been together a long time. And I wish, I truly hope that there are young people out there that get to develop the type of relationship that we have. Would you say it's a good one?
I think it is the very best. I unfortunately or fortunately have I know I can compare it to private, what's the word I'm looking for? Previous husbands. And when I found this guy, I found the best of the best. It's awesome when you find the right one, truly.
And it's kind of amazing how we actually met. This is a good story that all of you out there should be able to appreciate. I had a very tiny little office in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I did document preparation. And one day my phone rang, and I heard this voice on the other end of the phone who said she might need to have some help preparing some documents. And we talked, I explained to her what I do, and she said, well, if I decide to move forward, I'll let you know. Correct?
Yes.
Yep. And I waited probably about 6 months, and I got a call, and it was that sweet voice on the phone. She said, I'd like to set up a time for me to come in. And I said, okay. And I knew from the time of that second phone call, that was it. So she came into the office. And when she walked through the door, it was just, for me, it was the woman of my dreams. It could not have, if I would have tried to have had an artist draw a picture of the perfect image of a woman for me, it would have been you.
Wow. The crazy thing was, this was appointment with me and my then husband. So I walked in and my then husband was already there. And I walked in and I saw Michael for the very first time. And I had a kind of a little flutter, heartbeat went rushing. And I thought, wow, this guy, I don't know what it is, but I just was attracted immediately. And we sat there with my then husband, and I looked over, and he was just explaining, okay, here's the papers. That's all he did was fill out the forms for us. And we were to look through them, and we looked through them, and once we were done talking, and I looked at my then husband, and I said, look. And I was holding the papers, and I was like, this is where we are. Do we really want to go through this? This is where we are. And we both said, well, we were not going to sign it right then and there. So we left with the papers. And what was it, a week later?
Yeah, about that. And she came back with the paper signed. And after the divorce was final, I told her, I have your papers. I went to the judge's chambers and picked up the divorce decree and told her that I would be down at this tiny little lounge called the Serene Lounge, which was an old building, and it was very crowded, but it was always filled with good people, and the sound of the old slot machines that had real money fall out of them. And I told her, I said, I'll be there if you would like to come in, meet me for a drink to celebrate. And all I heard was, no, 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 I'm done with men for 2 or 3 years. She said, I just need to take a step back.
I did. I did.
Yep.
I did.
And for those of you that remember, there was a TV show called The Scarecrow and Mrs. King. And Bruce Boxleitner was the male lead. And he always wore a tuxedo. Now, when she walked in the door and I looked across the room and I saw her coming in, she had on an outfit that looked like a tuxedo made for a woman. And it just was, and that's how she got her nickname. So, and that nickname has stuck for 35, 36, whatever. Ever since that night, that has been her nickname, and it's stuck. And that's what her friends and people know her as.
Well, my part of it is, before I went down to the lounge there, I spent the night awake saying, no, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to go down there. I can't, it just was driving me crazy. I really and truly did not want to go down there, but I really, really did want to go down there and see him. And
cognitive dissonance in a woman, impossible.
Anyhow, that was it. We go down. We kind of were there.
And we have not been apart since then.
crazy.
that
It's
night
crazy.
we have been together and we have been through a lot.
Yes.
We have had some great times, hard times where we struggled financially. It's like everybody, you go through those periods. Even now, I mean, the only thing I do is I collect Social Security. And, I have issues that I have to deal with physically. My eyesight, I have macular degeneration in both eyes. I have geographic atrophy. Then on top of that, in the last 6 to 7 months, I got diagnosed with ocular rosacea. And I hope that nobody out there ever, ever gets ocular rosacea. If it weren't for this wonderful woman who has learned how to, what I call, plinker eyelashes out of my eyes, it would be absolute daily suffering. As it is, when it occurs, when it's a breakout, it is really difficult. It makes blinking difficult. So I keep bottles and bottles of eye drops to use. Fortunately, my beautiful wife doesn't have to worry about those, although when my cataracts were taken out, it helped. But still, when you have wet mac in one eye, dry mac in the other eye, and geographic atrophy, vision is not that great. So I live with it. But this wonderful woman, she takes care of me. I can only say that I probably would not have made it to my age had it not been for my meeting her and having her as my guardian angel. And I wrote a short story, and that short story was written because of her. And it is called My Guardian Angel, and it's under my pen name, Adam Chase. For those of you that it's only about a 2 hour and 15-minute read, somewhere around there. But I would say to anybody, if you are looking to read something that will hopefully touch your heart, because right now there is too much hate in the world. There is nothing in that book that a 12-year-old could not read. There is no bad language. There's nobody shooting somebody. It is just something that was written from the heart. And it's actually doing quite well on Amazon. So for those of you that would like to find it, is there a copy up there, Boo? And for all of you young people that watch this, you probably heard me call her Boo. And before Boo ever became popular for a girlfriend, I've been calling her Boo for 35 years. I started it, not y'all. And that is a picture.
It's going to be backwards.
Oh, yeah. It might be difficult to read, but it's My Guardian Angel. And that's our two little Yorkies, Bella and Bibi. And that's us walking. And I designed the book cover. And it was this wonderful woman who did the grammar, and
yeah,
which was an absolute necessity because I failed English in high school. And whatever gave me the idea that I could write something that would ultimately be out there and for sale, it's amazing. I would have never thought that I would have been able to put anything in writing that would have made sense. But
I'm just saying, it was a surprise. A surprise. There was no ever an instant that you had any desire to write a book, or that you even could write a book. For 30 years, 35 years, whatever. No idea. But he did it. It was really good. I mean, and that's not because he's my husband. Well, maybe it is because it's my husband. But I read a lot. I have a lot of books. I am a reader. And it's a nice short story. Get it when you're going on an airplane or traveling. And it's nice and easy and loving. And there's, not a thriller, but there are times when you're like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I don't know. It's just, I would never. He did great.
and for those of you that are dog lovers, you will love how the story begins. And the opening to the story, yes, it features Bella and Bibi.
Yes.
And is one of them in there?
No.
No. I was hopeful that Bella and Bibi would come in and we would be able to properly introduce them because they will become a part of our podcasts. We are not people that go out all the time. We have date nights every Saturday night, but they're at the home. If it's a special meal that we want to fix, we fix it. If we have a special movie that we want to watch, it used to be that we had access to a lot of movies, but for some reason, the provider that we had, we'd get 10 minutes into a movie and it would stop. So we've had to change, and I'm having a struggle, learning how to get to the movie channels and get the
Yeah.
movies on. But,
Yeah.
it's just little things that we do and we can do together. I mean, doing things together doesn't mean you have to go out and spend a lot of money. I mean, for couples, especially young couples, learn to appreciate, what you have and what you don't have. I mean, what I have is a woman that I would die for, literally. It is. For me, it's hard to talk about. Go ahead.
I'll try to save you here. I don't know how. I mean, we started off with, actually, we started off our dating, our Friday nights was poker night. We were kind of regulars at the Stardust poker room. And so it tells you how old we are because Stardust is not there anymore. So,
Well, it's Stardust now.
it's Stardust, true. But that was it. Our Friday night was there, and we got to be friends with everybody who played poker there regularly. And it's Texas Hold'em. And that was our thing. Friday nights was there. And so that was our date. At that point, that was really our date night, was going out and playing poker, and it was a blast. And
And the dealer was a guy by the name of Joe, who was my best friend.
now I'm going to cry.
And Joe he had not gone to college. And the only job he ever had was dealing poker at the Stardust Hotel. Now, Joe had a library of a couple of thousand books in his home. He was, like my wife, a voracious reader. And he would read about subjects that most people just would not take the time to read about. Now, I do not read fiction, even though my book was written in the category of fiction. I do not read fiction. I read primarily
I'm fiction. He's
nonfiction.
nonfiction.
Bella, you want to come up? So little Bella has come in, and we're going to try to get her to come up. She's a
coming
little
up.
camera shy,
Oh, well, you need to catch her.
unless she, well, I couldn't. I didn't know she was going to try to jump up on me. Sorry, Bella. But Joe was one of those people who was a self-taught, intelligent man. And we used to talk. I used to read books on things like the Middle East. I understand the geography of the Middle East. And being a Vietnam War veteran, I don't like wars. They never bring peace. World War One, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, none of them brought peace. They bring death. So I am anti-war. I will back our soldiers who put their lives out there because they're doing what they're told to do, what they're ordered to do. So I support them 100%. I don't support those that are sending our people to war unnecessarily. That is not what we're supposed to be doing. But enough of that. I'm sorry that I got off on that tangent, but it happens all the time. And little Bella, and hopefully BB will saunter in here. BB got her name because when we first got the two, we could not tell them apart except by looking at their butt.
Yeah, they're litter mates, so they're
Right.
twinnies.
And BB had the bigger butt, and the BB originally stood for big butt, and then it got changed to BEBE after the designer, BB. So there are two little Yorkies, and I have written a short story about them, and I should continue with those because they're designed for children, and it's really good. I'm going to actually use AI to create stories about the twinnies, as they're known as. So for children, they will actually be able to go on YouTube and see the short stories that will be created, and it will actually be the twinnies doing most of the talking on the episodes. So it'll be very cool for children. And as you can see, Bella she's a sweetie. They, in the daytime, since my far more intelligent than me wife works out of the home, she has an opportunity to spend all day with them. And then at nighttime, when it's time to go to bed, they do sleep in the bed with me. So we get to split time with them, which makes it enjoyable.
You want down?
And I think my wife's background is much more interesting than mine. When she was very young and in her early years in college, worked in a steel mill. Now, there are not a lot of women that back then worked in the steel mill, but she did. And she had the kind of run of the mill, so to speak. I think you were what, the only woman there?
Oh, I was not the only woman there, but there were just few of us, and the key thing was I was a white hat, and a white hat meant not a laborer, but either somebody in management. But in this case, I was working there as a student. I worked in the mill every other semester. And every other semester I would go down and go to college to get my degree. So,
And then, amazingly, she transitioned from that and got her degree in chemical engineering.
yes.
She went to work for the United States government in designing hazardous waste facilities for, you better
So,
say it.
yeah, I need to. So, yes, I graduated with my chemical engineering degree, and then I went, again, thing that will age me. I went to work with Rockwell International, which you might remember they designed and built the shuttle engine. And this was in California. But they also had a separate part of the Rocketdyne issue. I was working in the, I forget what it was called, but I worked in the facility where they were decommissioning spent nuclear fuel. So that's where I was involved in the decommissioning spent fuel rods, separating the uranium, the actual pellets or whatever from the cladding. Part of it goes to one place, the other part goes to another place. So that's what I did there. And then I went to work for the Department of Energy in Nevada. There was a facility called Yucca Mountain, and I was working on the design of the facility and the design of the waste packages for the commercial spent nuclear fuel disposal of that, or more like storage, which you can't really dispose of.
And as you may recall, during the introduction, we are the gray hair odd couple. Now, she said, well, oh, here's another thing that's going to age me. Well, I don't think our audience really cares at this point, since they know we're gray hair old people. So
I know, but I'm not accustomed to acknowledging my being a gray-haired old person.
get used to it.
I know.
We're there.
I know we are, but it's still something that.
Yep. And as we move along with these podcasts, we will have it open so that people are going to be able to send us comments that we'll address. And there's a very good chance that we will wind up doing some live broadcasts where people will actually be able to communicate with us while we're in the process of doing a live stream. We're going to not necessarily do it so that people have the ability to be heard on the air because of the language issue. I don't like the F-bombs and all the other things. I think that we can get points across without all the bad language. So we're probably going to do it so people will be able to write and it'll pop up in a box for us to see, and we'll be able to respond to it. People will be able to tell us where they're from and their first name if they want to, but we're going to be getting into, hopefully, hearing more from young people all the way up to people senior to us and hear what they have to say. We've posted some videos already of some people that are much younger, and we're trying to get, to pull things out of them as to what's bothering them. It's a little difficult because they are a little reticent given the state that we're in the United States with all the violence. And, there are people that just try to find people that are on the internet that they get attracted to. And so we try to avoid, I mean, you already heard my name mentioned, so we won't worry about it, but we're just going to be the he and the she. So next Sunday, we'll be on for a second podcast. We'll try to get BB on next week. And if you watch this and you have any comments that you want to make, or you have something that you want us to talk about, please go to the comments section where you can leave comments on the YouTube channel. And we will read them and we will definitely address them, when we get on a podcast next week. You can also send us an email at thegrayhairoddcouple@gmail.com. And we'll put a little sign up that'll be in the background for next Sunday, and it'll have our email address.
That's a
So
good idea.
if you do want to send us an email and let us know, we would love it. So thank you for taking the time to watching. Hopefully you enjoyed little Bella. And next week we'll get BB involved in it also. So it'll be a family affair here. So for now, this is he
And she.
saying goodbye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
And little Bella. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Stay safe, be healthy, have a good week,
Be happy.
and definitely be happy in whatever you do.